I bought this car at auction recently by mistake. I saw this going through the non-runner sale. That's what the NR on there means, and it kind of gives us a clue as to why the towing eye is in the front. It was going so cheaply that I thought, I can't really go too wrong. I bought this car for £225 plus fees. I was looking at other cars going through this non-runner auction. This popped up. It was just up the road from us in Bridgewater, and I thought, how bad could it be? Looking at the notes for the auction, it said non-runner, starter motor failure, and alternator needs replaced. Interesting wording. May have other fault, no guarantee it's the other faults. So essentially this car didn't run, so I went with the trailer to go and pick it up, expecting that, you know what, it's probably going to be quite an easy job and there may be some money in it. What I didn't realise when I was bidding, that this is a 1.2 PureTech engine, the one with a wet belt, an engine which I'm not a massive fan of. I was praying after I bought it that we weren't going to have problems on that front. My hope was that if we spent a few £100s on parts for this car that now, including the fees, owes me about £350, that we'd actually have a car for £600 or £700 that's worth about 2.5. So I went with my trailer to go and pick this up from Bridgewater Auctions, but when I got there, it was actually in the car park. Considering it was parked in a car parking space like any others, front first, I didn't think it had been towed, so I thought I may as well try and start it. As far as I can tell, that starter motor seems to work, and we don't have any warnings for the battery not charging, so I was a bit at a loss as to what actually is wrong with this car and why it was sold as a non-runner and not a fully functioning car. Let's take it out on the road and we'll find out exactly why. Pulls away okay, so clutch seems to be fine, maybe slightly high, but it's quite common for these little Citroens. So far, I'm not experiencing any problems whatsoever. As we come up to this junction, you'll hear why I think this car was down as a non-runner. That was this car going down into first gear, clutch fully depressed, fully working clutch, and I think if we go up into third now, hear that grind there. Every other gear seems to be fine, fourth and fifth, no issues there. We go back down to third. Oh, what a horrible sound. It would seem the synchro mesh has gone on gears 1 and 3. This was a money barn car, so I wonder if the customer who bought it had just complained that this shouldn't have happened on their car after 2 years of ownership. It's only on 76,000 miles, etc., and managed to reject it to the finance company, and then it's gone to auction as a non-runner. Because having driven it for a couple of days, I actually can't find any other issues with it other than that horrible gearbox noise. And it's a shame these engines aren't that reliable, because actually they're really sprightly and I think they're pretty fuel efficient as well. It's just that dreaded wet belt on these, and in my experience it tends to be around about 50,000 miles. But this one's gone past that, it's 76,000 miles, and luckily we have a record of it having been changed. And what we can do as well is get Ben to service this, and crucially make sure we put the right oil in, because that's usually what causes big problems with these wet belts. The wrong type of oil, which degrades the belt and gives you loads of problems in your engine. So realistically, the news is actually better than I expected, because a starter motor for this probably would have been, let's say, 50 to 100 pounds. Same again for an alternator, maybe more. To be honest, I think I'd rather have minor gearbox fault, knowing that the engine seems to be running fine, than taking a gamble on that engine, because even though it said it needed a starter motor and alternator, it could have had other underlying issues, that maybe the starter motor burnt out because the engine wouldn't turn over. So quite a good result really. It also was a car that has these Takata airbags in it, so it does have a do not drive order from Citroen, just like that DS4 that you would have seen on the channel not that long ago. But luckily our local Peugeot is very good and quick at getting these in, and have already changed over all of our airbags for us. The other good news is that I've managed to find a second-hand gearbox for an absolute bargain. I spotted a gearbox with the right serial number that we need on eBay for 84 quid, and I thought that was so cheap, I'd be cheeky and make an offer, and we actually managed to win this and have it delivered for £70. We are going to buy a clutch as well, because it just makes sense to do that while we're in there, and Ben may find some other bits and pieces, but I am feeling quite positive about this, because it shouldn't be a huge job to do either. So I'm going to hand it over to Ben as soon as we've got all our parts and he's got some space on the ramp. He can get on and get this car sorted.
Okay, Joe's asked me to find some time to squeeze this car into the workshop because we've been pretty busy, but I think I've got a couple of hours free, and I'm told that this car needs a replacement gearbox. I've not driven it for myself, so I've not experienced the crunchy grinding gears, but I trust Joe and I'll take his word for it. And I am told as well that the wet belt's been done, so we'll check through the service book, see if we've got to do any oil services or anything like that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to fly through, give it a quick inspection, make sure everything's nice and safe and up together, and then we're going to crack on, get this gearbox out, chuck a new gearbox in, and a new clutch. Okay, so we're off to a really good start actually. I can see that we've got a new strut, new spring, new drop link, we've got new dissing pads, a new Pirelli tyre. So yeah, we're off to a fantastic start, and there's no play at all in this. So hopefully it's not just this one corner, because that would be alarming. Hopefully, you know, we've had some routine maintenance all the way around the car. Everything's in great shape back here. And we have a brand new Yokohama tyre, so premium tyres all round so far. This thing has definitely been really well cared for. Let me take it up in the air and we'll see what it's like underneath. So it looks like we've had a replacement centre section on the exhaust, which is quite nice, but it would appear that this clamp is a little loose. So we'll get a new clamp on order and we'll put this together in such a way where it's not blowing and, you know, it's got a bit of a stronger connection. Looks like we've got a relatively new auxiliary belt on there. I can still see all the writing, but the lower arms are new as well, which is great news because I'll probably be undoing some of these to get the drive shafts out, so I've not got any rusty bolts to contend with. Fingers crossed this is, you know, going to be a straightforward gearbox change. So when I had it up in the air, I noticed that the gearbox was black, and that's not usually, you know, what a gearbox looks like. They're usually just like, you know, the raw aluminium or whatever they're made from, and it would appear that this is a refurbished gearbox and it's immaculate. It's all been painted up black, like I said. It's absolutely spotless. It only looks like it's been in the car 10 minutes. So it just got me going down a different path for a minute, because I'm thinking, well, if this is a refurbished gearbox, probably has a new clutch, is there something else going on there? So I've given it all a good check over. I've given the, you know, master and slave cylinder for the clutch a good inspection. I've actually re-bled the clutch as well, and I've checked the fluid level inside the gearbox, and everything's absolutely spot on. So that was unfortunate. I thought we were going to have a nice little win there where maybe the clutch hadn't been bled properly and that was going to solve all of our issues. So it looks like we're going to have to take this freshly refurbished gearbox out, chuck it in the scrap bin, and put our second hand one in with a new clutch after all. So that's the gearbox coming out now, and ordinarily I probably would have just picked this up and, you know, manhandled it out of the car, but I do have a dislocated rib right now, so we're using the gearbox jack just to make life easy. Next we'll drop this on the floor, we'll get all of our bits transferred over to our new gearbox, of course give everything a new clean, and we'll inspect that clutch as well, just to see what we're dealing with. So this appears to be in pretty decent shape, and I would say it was fitted at the same time that that refurbished gearbox was fitted. This doesn't look too bad. There's a few hot spots on the pressure plate and there's loads of friction material left on the clutch. So I should imagine this was a new clutch kit at the time that this refurbished gearbox was put in the car. So quite surprising really that we've had an issue with the clutch because it was slightly juddering, and an issue with the refurbished gearbox. But providing the flywheel looks okay, we're going to put it back together with our second-hand gearbox. I'll put some fresh fluid in it. And a new clutch kit, and fingers crossed that solves all our issues. C3 gearbox. It's a good start, isn't it? At least we got the right one. Okay, so here's our replacement gearbox. It looks to be in great condition, no leaking from any seals, so we don't have to touch anything there. I think all we've got to do is just give it a really lovely clean up in here. New release bearing. I'm going to swap over this gear holder because this one's got a slight crack in it, whereas ours is, you know, in good condition, and then it's ready to go in the car. So that's just slotted up nice and easy. I had to use this stand because my back is in absolute pieces. Not really much left to do now. Do I have gearbox oil on my face, Toby? Doesn't matter. We'll put a bolt on it now, just to stop it falling off. I'll get the gearbox mount on the top secured, and then we can get rid of these jacks. And then, yeah, kind of a reversal of what we've already done. I'll put the drive shafts back in, hook up the gear cables, clutch slave cylinder, that sort of thing, and we'll take it for a drive, see if we fixed it.
We are back in the little C3. Ben has now changed the gearbox and put a new clutch in for us. So now is the time to test it out and find out whether that has solved our problems. This is the junction we came up to before, where we dropped down a gear into first, and it made that horrible crunching sound. So that's second, and that's first. Lovely. We'll just run it up through the gears as well, make sure it doesn't crunch on the way up, because it used to crunch in third gear. Smooth as silk, how about that? Not bad for a £70 gearbox. Absolutely spot on. I am very happy with that result. Charlie's now getting a bit of a spruce up as well. So it wasn't the fault that we were expecting, but actually turned out better than we hoped probably. It's an absolutely miserable day, so let's get back to the office and I'll run you through everything we spent and how much money we could be looking at potentially making. Let's talk numbers on our little C3. I've gone to Dealer Kit, which is where we manage all of our cars, our management system. Makes it very easy to figure out what we've spent. Here is the picture of it, sat in its yard as a non-runner, which we thought was a starter motor and alternator, but it wasn't. We can go through exactly what we spent. So £225 was my bid at auction, and then I had to pay fees on top of that, which was £161. If you wanted to drive it with a noisy gearbox, it would have been £386. Absolute bargain. Then after that, we have spent 70 quid on a gearbox, second hand, so no VAT. We got a clutch kit from Napa, which was £75 plus VAT, so £90. We had to get an exhaust gasket and some exhaust paste, another £15.73 and £3.72, including the VAT. We haven't actually MOT'd it yet, but we will do, so that's another £50 because it's only got a couple of months left on it. We also had the airbags done at Citroen, but that's a free recall, so that didn't cost us anything either, so we got all new airbags in the car, at least the ones that are a problem. And our total comes to £615.45, which is a lot of car, really, for that sort of money. I'm very pleased with it. Obviously, we haven't included labour in this. Lots of people ask, how much was the labour? You haven't included labour costs. How much did the labour cost you? Well, it cost me a salary because everyone works here on a salary and we work it out at the end of the month. To work it out per car would just be a nightmare. You can say that we probably put a day's worth of labour into it. And the other reason I like to do it this way is imagining if you went to auction and you bought it and you wanted to do all these things yourself, which a lot of people will be capable of doing, then that would be your profit, would be your labour. So for those who are unhappy always with we haven't put labour in and it's a joke, we calculate it at the end of the month and we've spent about a day on it. I've just had another quick look on Auto Trader at prices for these. And actually I can't remember what I said earlier in the video, but I think it's probably about £3,000 because we've got anything ranging from 2.5 to 3.2, 3,750, 3.2, 3.5. So I think if we were to say 2,995, because ours actually is now quite nice, and it's had a cam belt in the past, it's just had a new gearbox, and it will had a fresh MOT, I think we've got quite a nice car. That would mean that we'd be looking at a net profit of £1,963 after we've paid our VAT on the margin as well. So that's an absolutely amazing result. What have we got there? Nearly a 400% return on investment, which doesn't happen very often, I have to admit, but this risky purchase did turn out okay. Just a very quick reminder that as this video goes out, we still have the John Cooper Works Mini Clubman available on Feel Good competitions for just £2. It is well over half sold in just the space of a week or two, but there are still tickets available while they last, so I'd definitely go and check that out. And in fact, if you haven't seen that video, you can click over here. Of course, don't forget to subscribe, click up here. But that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.